Dear Jerry, so the more astute of you may realize that I look a little more pink, flushed. Um, I have more color in my self than I normally do. That is because it is not carbon monoxide poisoning, I promise. It could be, because that is one of the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning, is extreme redness. But what it actually is rum. Woo. Yeah, so I've been drinking a little bit of rum. Sorry, there's an odd particulate in this guy. Perhaps I should have washed it before I poured alcohol in it, but it's probably sterile now. Anyway, it's just Captain Morgan. Spiced rum. And no, I'm not going to do that leg up thing. But couple of things. I think it was last night I mentioned that it looked like in my note thing that I had 6 different topics to talk about when I only had 3, but it's because now there's 5 lines of stuff, but they're 5 separate topics. Oh, first one is that Gopher, who on here on YouTube, and let me make sure I'm getting his name correct on the thing, because last time I think I said it was Gopher Games, or Gopher Gaming, which I think is what his Twitter handle is. But on YouTube, it's Gopher's Vids with no apostrophes or anything. That's his channel on YouTube. Anyway, today, I believe it was today, it might have been yesterday, he hit 100,000 subscribers. Congratulations to you, sir. That is a wonderful, not bookmark, landmark. We'll go with landmark. Landmark's not right either. Wonderful thing to achieve, and for people like me who have 70, not 70,000, 70 subscribers, 100,000 is a bit of a far off dream. But good on you. Very well done. Very nice. Congratulations. Very well deserved. Your Skyrim videos are, as far as I'm concerned, epitomal. I mean, there are none better. But you play the way I like to play. So, some people, when they play Skyrim, they do it very, they do a lot of, they just run around killing everything in their path. I don't know, you play the way I like to play. So yours are my favorites. Plus, I mean, I just like yours better. So there, just shut up and take it. Take the compliment, damn it. So, congratulations. Number 2, I just got finished watching Torch Song Trilogy. Now, for those of you who have never seen it before or never heard of it before, or, and this is a possibility, both, never heard of it before, therefore you've never seen it. It is a wonderful, wonderful story about a drag queen growing up in New York in the 60s, 70s, and up into 1980, New York in Brooklyn. And the main character is played by Harvey Fierstein. Now, for those who do not know they don't recognize the name right off the bat. You do know him, or know of him, you just don't realize it's the guy who played Robin Williams' brother in Mrs. Doubtfire, who made the mask. He was the Jeff Goldblum's coworker in Independence Day. Most people immediately recognize him as soon as they hear his voice, because as soon as you start talking like this, you're immediately going to know exactly who Harvey Fierstein is. Trust me. Anyway, he also did the stage play for a long, long time, and it's really, really good. Anne Bancroft is in it, playing his mother, and what is quite possibly the stereotypical Jewish mother. Just brilliant performance on her part. Matthew Broderick is in it. For those of you who have been fans of his since, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Lady Hawk, like I have, and before that as well. But, and War Games. Oh, War Games. The original, not the new one. The original. Yeah, okay, so I'm old. Anyway, so it's worth it just to watch Matthew Broderick kiss another man. Ooh! Good stuff. Right. So, yeah, I need a boyfriend. Shut up. Don't judge me. Unless you're my boyfriend. And then judge me, but just judge me fairly, please. Or get drunk and then judge me, because then your judgment will be impaired and you possibly see me in a better light, because that's the way beer goggles or whiskey goggles or rum or champagne or mimosas. I really hope my boyfriend isn't like can we just go get some mimosas? Because I just can't see myself dating. Never mind. I'm going to be a bit rambly on this one. And no, it's not apple juice. But next topic. If you haven't seen Song Trilogy, go watch it. It can be hard to find. It is well worth owning on DVD, because you'll wind up sharing it with all of your friends. And I don't care if you're gay, straight, bi, whatever. It is a brilliant movie. It is really, really good. Also pick up Tu Wong Fu, and I can't remember the rest of the title right now. It's like Tu Wong Fu, thanks for all the fish, Julie Newmar. That's not what it is. It ends in Julie Newmar, but it's not thanks for all the fish. And of course, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, which is, those are 3 great drag queen movies. Absolutely great. But that's it for Song Trilogy. So, one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is that, they know that I want to be a voice actor. They understand that, because I tell everybody that. One thing that a lot of people don't realize about me is that I used to do kind of the opposite. Now, with voice actors, typically you're heard and not seen, but I did something where I was seen but not heard, which is Mascot work. I did a lot of Mascot work for about 10 years, and it was the exact opposite kind of thing. One of the things that I also did during that time was I was on a kids show. I was starring on a kids. I did star in one episode, and I did a voiceover in one episode of one very, very brief character. Anyway, the show was called Adventures with Kangaroo, and it aired on PBS. Starred Pat Morita, who's Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid, not the remake. Although my understanding is that the remake is quite good still. And then Jennifer Montana, who's Joe Montana's wife, and Karen Lott, who is Ronnie Lott's wife. For those of you who are 49ers fans, or at least remotely familiar with football, you'll probably know who Joe Montana and Ronnie Lott are. Anyway, so their wives were on it, and Joe and Ronnie were executive producers on the show as well. Anyway, we had a lot of the 49ers on the show because it was made right here, in San Jose. So it was very, very easy to get them on the show. And one of the guys who we had on, who was playing the role of Uncle Chewy, it was just in one episode, and was this guy named Angel Rubio. And when I first met him, I was doing something on set. I was a production assistant, so I was just back and forth. Well, I was a production assistant, I was the slate guy, and I think I was also doing the remote controls for Kangarootie's face, because it was an animatronic thing, so I had to do all 3 of those jobs. Fortunately, I was not I used to do continuity and Avid controller at the same time, but I didn't do them all at the same time. I just started out on Avid and continuity, and then moved to production assistant and animatronics and slate. So the day that Angel was on, and I don't remember what position he played. I just remember he was one of the 49ers. He's not there anymore. This was quite a few years ago. George Chung, who was one of the producers on the show, knew I was gay. Everybody on the show knew I was gay because my boyfriend dropped me off every morning, so of course I'm gay. Anyway, so I was barreling through the studio doing something across the set, and George was like, "Oh, I want to introduce you." I'm like, "Yeah, hang on, excuse me," and I just go running by. Now he's flaming out every time I walk by, and he's just going, "Oh my God, I introduce you." And I'm like, yeah, hang on, and I go by, and then I go back, and he's like, "Wait, I need to." Now Angel's sitting next to him, like, because George is not gay, not even close. So him acting like this, Angel's like, "What the hell is going on?" And so I finally come back, like the third time I'm going through, and I stop, and I'm like, "What is it? Why are you bothering me? I've got so much stuff to do. What do you want?" And George is like, "I wanted to introduce you. This is Angel." And I'm like, "Jesus, yes, you are." And Angel was like, "Oh my God, what the fuck is going on?" It was so funny. And of course, immediately, it's like, okay, he's uncomfortable. Time to not do that anymore. So I was like, "No, seriously, dude, it's good to meet you." And so I shook his hand and everything. And, we're hanging out and chatting throughout the course of the day. At the end of the season, when we were doing the rap party at Campo de Baci in Los Gatos, my boyfriend and I my boyfriend had been getting drunk and stoned with Pat Morita. So his night was set. I mean, he was getting baked out of his skull with Pat Morita. And Pat was drunk before he even got there. But they were commiserating because they were both down in LA at the same time, and they had actually met at some little dive that Pat used to go to. And so they were talking about, Posey said, "Oh, we met once at such and such," and Pat was like, "Oh my God, I remember that place." And so they just immediately they started talking. They were off. I was like, "Okay, good." And Posey was like, "Hey, I've got some bud if you want to smoke." He's like, "Yeah." So he and Pat went outside and started getting stoned together, and I was like, "Yes, you go and have a great time with Pat Morita. That's awesome." And then meanwhile, I'm sitting there just talking with the rest of the crew as we're doing our rap part and everything. It was fun. And then finally, he's like, Posey comes back in. He's like, "Okay, I'm ready to go." And I'm like, "But right about that time, Angel shows up, and I'm like, "Oh no, 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 God damn it!" And so we are literally walking out of the place, and Angel's walking in, and he's like, "Are you leaving?" I'm like, my boyfriend wants to go home. He's like, "I didn't even get a hug yet." I'm like, "Oh, how many do you want? I mean, I'll give you all of them right now." He's like, "Just one really good one." I'm like, "Okay, I can do that." And so I just, oh my God. That's a good hugger. He probably does some thing on the football field where he has to, grab a hold of guys or something because he's really good at it. Focus. I need a boyfriend. I think that's part of the problem. Another person that we had on Kangaroo, just real quick, and oh wow, we're 13 and a half minutes. Okay, this may be a long episode. So, or I'll just save the last two for another day. Another person we had on the show, who unfortunately is no longer with us, much like Pat Morita. Her name was Darian O'Toole. She was I guess you would call her a disc jockey. She was one of those, morning radio personalities on K-Bay here in the Bay Area, and she was a special guest on Kangaroo once. And there was the episode she was in. She was, we had Kangaroo was doing this big band thing, and he was playing guitar. She was on the drum set, and she was drinking a purple soda thing or something. And she put the bottle down on the little riser that her drum set was on. And just as the director's about to say action, she moves her foot and knocks over the bottle, and just grape soda just spills everywhere. And I know it's not grape soda, it's purple, but I'm probably gonna wind up saying grape anyway. So she just spills it all over the thing, and she just is freaking out. I immediately bolt outside, run into the men's room, grab a fistful of napkins or paper towels, and come back and start blotting it up. And she's like jerking paper towels out of my grip and trying to blot with them. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I just look at her with this glare, and I'm like, "No more. grape soda on my set. And she's like, never again, never again. Oh my God, I swear, never again. And so we finished cleaning up and we did the thing. And we talked a little bit after that. But so like a year later, I was doing a mascot appearance for the San Jose Clash soccer team when they were still the San Jose Clash. This was before they became the San Jose Earthquakes, which they are now. And it was this big red scorpion. But as a friend of ours kind of redubbed him, he said he looks like the Honey Nut Cheerios bee with a sunburn, which if you've seen any pictures of the suit, it's very accurate. Anyway, so we were at Great America over in Santa Clara, and she was there. There's the big booth. It says Darian O'Toole is going to be here from 11 to 1, blah, 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 signing autographs and whatnot. And the guy who was escorting me, I said, at some point, there's going to be a woman over there with red hair. And I'm going to just stand here in the suit and just stare at her. And eventually, she's going to be like, what the hell is this problem? And when she asks, why am I staring at her? I want you to lean over to her and say, he says not to spill any more grape soda on the set. That's all you need to say. And so it was right at the end of her thing. And we're out there, and there's nobody around. She's just finishing up, signing the cards and everything. They're starting to pack everything up. And I'm just standing there because there's nobody that I need to talk to, interact with as the mascot, because there's no kids, there's nobody coming over to me. So I'm just standing there in the suit, just, staring at her. And she keeps looking over, and she continue packing up cards, and she looks back, and eventually she turns to me, she's like, why is he staring at me like that? And he leans over and says, he said to tell you not to spill any more grape, and he didn't get any further than that. And she just starts screaming and comes running around the table and just runs over and wraps both arms around me and hugs me and just giggling. And I'm like, okay, she remembers. And so we were talking. I said, gonna go get out of suit. I'll be right back. And so I went, I got out of suit. That was my last, time out anyway. It was time to pack everything in. So I went ahead, got out of suit, packed it all up, and came back out. And we talked for a good 15 minutes or so. And she wrote down her work number, her home number, her cell number, and blah, 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 on one of the cards that she was autographing for everybody. And I still have it. And what I find the most amusing is that of all these guys, because she's a very beautiful woman. I mean, she had that smoldering beauty that this woman is a succubus. I mean, she's very, very pretty. And I just find all these guys are going to try to get, autographs from her and asking for her phone number and whatnot. And I just find it hysterical that the gay guy in the scorpion outfit winds up leaving with every phone number she's got and a pending date with her and her boyfriend, who she took no end of pleasure in telling me how cute he was. I'm like, woman, don't you even start with me, because I will totally take him from you. And she's like, no, oh, no, 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 no. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's on. Unfortunately, we never got to go to dinner before she passed away, but it was just an awesome time. So we are at 18 and a half minutes. That is the longest video I think I've done for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up. I'll say the other two things plus anything else I come up with tomorrow. For tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then. I will include Gopher's link down below so that you guys can go over and congratulate him on 100,000 subscribers, because he really does deserve it. And if you like Skyrim at all, even if you just play it on the console, which you really shouldn't do, just saying, because you can't mod it, and you really need to mod Skyrim. It's got to look right. Anyway, you can go and watch his Skyrim Let's Plays, because he does an awesome job. So I'll put his link below. Go ahead and go over there, congratulate him on 100,000, and until then, I will see you guys next time, and be careless.